everybody, Alonzo here with GulfCoastSmoke.com, and today we're making barbecue tamales. You know what barbecue is, you probably know what tamales are. We're gonna take the best flavors out of both of these, put them together, and hopefully make the best tamales that we've ever had. So this recipe comes from my mom. She makes the best tamales I've ever had, and honestly, I'm a little bit nervous that we're doing this without her. Well, we're doing it with her guidance. We've called her, I don't know how many times. We had to call her yesterday back to back to ask questions, to take notes, so we could give you guys the right ingredients and we could show you guys exactly how to make these. So typically my mom will use chuck roast and pork butt and mix those together in order to get the insides of this tamale mixture. But today I'm smoking a brisket and a pork butt so we could get those beautiful smoked flavors, nice brisket, nice pork butt, Southern Belle and Southern Hospitality, all into one. In order to start this process, I'm gonna show you guys the brisket and the pork butt that we made. They came out amazing. Now, I will say that I don't know if you need to smoke these completely to probe tender like I did. Really, I just wanted to show you guys an awesome cross section and how pull apart tender this brisket is. Then of course, you already know the clean bone on this pork butt makes you know that I smoked this to perfection. But because we are gonna blend this here in a little bit, I don't know if you need to go that far, but you guys do it however you want to at home. Just follow along with the recipe. These are gonna turn out great. We're gonna start with 10 dried ancho chiles. What we're gonna do first is we're gonna de-seed and de-stem these, and then we're going to boil these in 1 cup of water for about 5 minutes. You can discard of any water that you have in the end, but most of it's gonna boil out. We're trying to rehydrate these chiles so we can put them in the food processor in just a minute. Speaking of that mixture, we're gonna add 1 package or 2.5 ounces of this mixed spice blend, as well as 2 cloves of garlic. The garlic that we had today was kind of small, so we used 4, but my mom said she usually uses 2. Now we're gonna take all these ingredients and blend those up with 1 1/4 cups of water until you get a smooth paste. And now I've got 5 pounds of brisket and 5 pounds of pork butt, and we're gonna blend this in our food processor until it gets a nice consistency. And now we're just gonna add these elements together, the paste and the meat. We're gonna mix it really well, add 2 tablespoons of salt. We actually ended up adding a little bit more in the end just to get the flavor that we wanted. So make sure to taste it. Make sure that it tastes exactly the way you like it. And now we're gonna let this sit overnight. So now that our meat mixture sat overnight, it's time to start making the rest of the tamales. So we're gonna focus on the corn husks first. That's what we're gonna use to wrap these tamales. That's typically what we use here in South Texas. I know some people use banana leaves, but really I think that's just in different regions of Mexico. And we're gonna go with the corn husks today. So we ended up using 3 whole packages for the amount that we made today, and you need to make sure that you let these corn husks sit in water for at least 45 minutes to an hour to not only get a little bit more pliable, but to wash off all the dirt that's on them. They actually are pretty dirty, and if you don't do that, that's not good. It's definitely not gonna taste good. And for the 10 pounds of meat that we're using today, we're using 2 5-pound bags of masa. Masa is like ground corn that you can use for tortillas. Obviously today we're using them for tamales and some other Mexican dishes. And in order to add some flavor to this masa, we're gonna use 2 pounds of manteca or lard and 1 16-ounce can of Crisco all vegetable shortening. We're gonna throw this into a pot and we're gonna melt this down. And while that's melting, you wanna get 1/2 cup of chili powder, 1/4 cup of salt, 1/4 cup of garlic powder, 1/4 cup of baking powder, and 4 cups of beef broth. We're gonna mix all of this together now. The melted fat and all of the seasonings, and we're going to add it to our masa, and we're gonna blend this for 5 minutes until it gets a nice consistency. And once we're done doing that, we're gonna let this set for about 10 minutes just so all the flavors can come together and that hot lard can cool down just a little bit. And we're almost ready to make tamales, but don't forget, we let that meat sit overnight in the refrigerator, and we don't wanna work with it cold, so we're just gonna put it on a pot and warm it up just a little bit. Don't forget, when we're making these tamales, we're going to be using our hands, so you don't want it too hot, but you definitely don't want it cold when we're putting it in the tamale. So now the best way that I could tell you to make these tamales is kind of just to start to go with it. My mom's been making tamales for years now. I told you guys in the beginning, she makes the best tamales I've ever had. So I've seen her put the masa on the husks multiple times. My sister knows what she's doing. She's helped out tremendously so far in this video. My brother-in-law as well. I actually have my nephews and my sisters all helping out with this whole video. So you're just gonna show you some B-roll of us putting on the masa on the corn husks and then putting the meat in there. Like I said, I don't really think that there's a right or wrong way to do it. when you're putting on the masa, you do not want a thick layer, because then there's gonna be too much masa and then you don't have enough room for the meat. So in my opinion, you want a thinner layer of masa so you can get a nice bit of meat in there. It's gonna give that perfect ratio. Also, if you have a thick layer of masa, it's gonna take even longer to cook and you won't get that tender bite with every single tamale. And while we're making these tamales, you'll notice that some of the husks, we tore a few pieces off of the sides to make them a better size. And we're gonna throw those torn husks on the bottom of our pot. That's gonna help the steaming process while we're cooking these tamales. So now in our pot here, we filled it up with about 2 inches of water. I don't know how many cups or anything that was. When we're making tamales, we usually don't do measurements when it comes to the water that we put when we're steaming them. But we put about 2 inches of water, and then my sister told me specifically to tell you guys that you have to use a coffee cup. There's no other way to do it. You have to put the coffee cup in there. That's obviously kind of a joke, but you really do want to put a cup there in order to make sure that the tamales stay upright, because without something in the middle, they would just fall over. So when you're steaming these tamales, you want to put the folded part at the bottom. Obviously, the open part's going to be up top. You don't want anything coming out of these tamales while you're steaming them, and we're going to be steaming them for a while. Around 2.5 to 3 hours. And when these tamales are done, if they still seem a little bit soft, that is completely okay. If you steam them for the 2.5 to 3 hours, just let them sit at room temperature for about 10 minutes. And they're gonna get nice and tender, and they're still gonna be perfect. So like I said, if you notice that they're a little bit softer than you want, don't worry about it at all. They're gonna be fine. And after 2 days of hard work, the help of my sisters, brother-in-law, my mom, my wife, and everybody, we finally have a finished product. We're ready to show you guys these tamales, and we're ready to talk about how good they, well, hopefully how good they taste. So you can see tamales looking real good, nice and tender. You can see on the inside of there, the masa is nice. There's a good layer of it. It's not too much. You can see the meat in there. It's hard to see from there, but you can see little pieces of bark from that brisket, and I know that's gonna be good. You can see a little bit of a smoke ring on the pork as well. So this is gonna bring that barbecue flavor. We seasoned with Southern Belle and Southern Hospitality, which I know is just gonna kick it up to another level. Let's take a bite. There's just, I mean, that's probably the best thing we've ever cooked on this channel. Honestly, those flavors on point. Flavors on point. I mean, you definitely can tell that it's brisket and pork butt. Well, maybe not exactly that it's brisket and pork butt, but you could tell it's a high quality meat because we used a prime brisket and we used a natural pork butt from H-E-B. Of course, we use Southern Belle and Southern Hospitality, like I just said. You get those beautiful Mexican flavors from the ancho chilies, garlic. I mean, there's just so much depth of flavor in that. It is insane. That is truly the best tamale I think I've ever had. It's right there with Mom's. So Mom's is the best, and this is right there with it. But I mean, if I'm being honest, we got all of our tips from Mom, so it's like she made them anyway, right? I mean, we put the ingredients together and we did everything, but I mean, we were literally calling my mom, asking her exactly how much water to put, how much chiles, everything. So shout out to Mom, Norma Jean. best tamales in the world. And these, like I said, they're right there with hers. Like I said, she pretty much made them anyway, but I have to give a huge shout out to my sister Kimberly. She put in so much work to help me make this video. She came over last night, helped me mix everything together, bought a lot of the stuff for this, and then today we were at her house for like 6 hours making this video for you guys. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you get out and you try these. And I mean, I don't see how you couldn't love this. I don't see how you couldn't love this. These are just, I had to grab another. I don't really know what you could say about these that's negative. I just don't get it. Brisket, pork butt, Mexican flavors, perfect masa. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. This is the best thing we've ever cooked on this channel. I'm gonna make a bold statement. I think this is the best thing we've ever cooked on this channel. If you try one recipe, try this one. If you guys like this video, let us know by subscribing, leaving a thumbs up, commenting. Merry Christmas. Christmas is in, what is it, 2 days now when this video posts? All right, so Christmas will be in 2 days. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy New Year's. We love you all. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for watching. As always, I really appreciate you guys tuning into this video. Thanks, and we'll see you on the next one. 10 pounds heavier.